Welcome back, children. In today's class, we will start with a new chapter, Natural Disasters. Do you know, children, what do you mean by disaster? I hope you might have heard in the news channels about the disasters. Very recently, it was very big actually, which shocked all the people of India. In June 2013, a disaster in Uttarakhand because of Mandakini River. A cloudburst caused dreadful landslides and devastating floods. Thousands of people, pilgrims, and tourists on their way to the Kedarnath temple were caught unawares. It affected many districts of Uttarakhand like Ramgarh and Gorikond. What happened in Uttarakhand was the work of nature. It was a work of nature. It became the worst disaster since the tsunami of December 2004. Natural disasters are caused by nature, not by human beings. They are caused by nature. We have no control over these calamities. Do you think we have control over these calamities? No, we don't have any control over these calamities. They are caused by nature. They are caused by nature. Some natural disasters are earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, cyclones, tsunamis, floods, and droughts are all natural disasters. They cause a lot of damage to life and property. So they are all disasters. They cause a lot of damage to life and properties. So the first one is earthquakes. So we will study one by one in detail. Have you heard about earthquake, children? Earthquake is nothing but a sudden shaking of the ground, typically causing great destruction. Earthquake means a sudden shaking of the ground. When the ground sudden shakes, typically it causes a great destruction. Destruction means destroy. It will destroy the property. It will uproot the trees. So a lot of destruction will happen. So this is earthquake. First we will study how the earthquakes will occur. We all know that the earth is made up of enormous plates of rocks which float on a semi-liquid layer called the mantle. In the picture you can see the mantle. It is named. Okay. This mantle is just below the earth's crust. It is below the earth's crust. The rocky plates are called tectonic plates. The rocky plates move extremely slowly. The rocky plates are called tectonic plates. When they will move slowly, some move apart, some will collide, some will slide past each other. So some tectonic plates will move apart. They leave some gap in the middle. They will move apart. And some will collide. Collide means they will, like how we will rub our hands, no? Like that. That is collision. Some will collide. And some tectonic plates slide. They will slide past each other. So they will slide. When two plates collide, sometimes one plate ends up being forced beneath the other. When two plates will collide, sometimes one plate ends up being forced beneath the other. This can cause a huge tear in the earth's surface. in the earth's surface, it will break up. This tear is called a fault. This tear is called a fault. There are many such fault lines. When it will tear, it will cause many fault lines. That it will cause many fault lines on the earth's surface. These areas are most vulnerable to earthquakes. So when you will come to higher classes, you will study about vulnerable parts, about all these fault lines and all. You will study in detail when you will come to higher classes. As these tectonic plates collide, a lot of energy is released. That time a lot of energy will be released, which travels to the surface. Slowly it will travels up, it will travels to the surface from the crust, from the below the ground. Okay, from the crust it will travel to the surface. The earth then quakes. Quake means vibrates. That time when it will travel to the surface, that time the earth will vibrate. The released energy radiates outwards. That energy will be moved outwards in a series of seismic waves. In a series of seismic waves. The seismic waves weaken in strength as they travel further away. The point of collision is called the hypocenter focus. The point of collision, here you can see, that is called hypocenter or focus. The point of the earth's surface directly above the focus is called as epicenter. The greatest force of the quake is felt here. The greatest quake, the greatest that vibration will you can experience will be in epicenter. An earthquake is often followed by more tremors called aftershocks. They are called aftershocks. The areas around the epicenter suffer maximum damage. So the areas which is surrounded by this epicenter will, whether it will cause more damage, maximum damage. Buildings will collapse, electric poles and trees will be uprooted, landslides and caused in hilly areas. Roads develop cracks. Roads will be cracked. People and animals get trapped under the rubble. Here, there have been instances where the rescue teams have found people buried alive under the debris even after several days. Earthquakes that measure 6 or more on the Richter scale. So, the measurement, the instrument used to measure the earthquakes is called as Richter scale, cause maximum damage. So, what precautions we can take to overcome these earthquakes? How to prevent? What precautions we can take for these earthquakes? Now we will study about this. First precaution we can take is earthquake monitoring centers regularly release alerts and issue precautions, especially to people living in earthquake prone areas. What do you mean by earthquake prone area? Means the places where we will get risk of earthquakes. For example, Japan. Japan is most popular earthquake prone area. People must always follow the instructions. So whenever there will be alerts given by earthquake monitoring centers, we must follow the instructions. Houses in sensitive areas should be built using light materials so that the damages can be reduced. Buildings, bridges, flyovers and dams should be built using super strong materials which can withstand the tremors of an earthquake. In case of an earthquake, rule number one is not to panic. We should not be panic. If you are indoors, take shelter under a sturdy table or bed and wait for the shaking to stop. We should not move. We should not be panic and we should not run here and there. Okay. We have to wait until the shaking should stop. If you are outdoors, reach the nearest open space, far from high rises, high buildings and all, electric poles, mobile towers and trees. So, we should not, if you are outdoors, we must go to the nearest open space, open grounds. We must be away from high rise areas. So, by taking these precautions, we can save ourselves from these earthquakes. Next, we will study about the one more disaster, that is about volcanoes. What do you mean by volcano? The word volcano comes from Vulcan, the god of fire in Roman mythology. A volcano is a kind of mountain having a vent from which hot melted rock, sulfur gases, steam, and ash comes out from deep within the earth's crust. When two rocky tectonic plates move apart, when the gap will be there, when they will move apart, the gaps are created. The gaps are called vents. The gaps are created. Molten rock called magma, which is always at very high temperature and always under great pressure. It will be under great pressure. The magma will be under great pressure and it will make its way out through these vents. So it will come out through the vents and flows down the mountain slopes. When, because of the pressure, it rises and it comes out and flows down the mountain slopes as lava. So before it will be magma. Afterwards, when it will rise and it will flows down the mountain slopes, it is called as lava. Sometimes it violently throws out the pieces of rocks, gas and ash into the air above. When the tectonic plates slide over each other, the intense heat produced by this friction, because when they will slide, the heat will be produced because of the friction, because of the movement. When they will slide with the great pressure, force, the heat will be produced. It forms fresh cracks inside the earth's crust, and the magma gushes out with a lot of force. As volcanoes are very terrific, they cause many advantages also. There are many advantages. The soil around volcanoes is very fertile. This is the main advantage. Thus, whenever volcanoes will occur, the ash comes out from that. Volcanoes contains many nutrients like potassium, many nutrients and minerals which plants need to grow. So the area beside or around where that volcanoes will occur, the land in that area, around that area will be very fertile. It is very much useful. It is fertile to grow the plants. Okay, it is good for that soil is good for agriculture. So they are having many advantages also. So in today's class we learnt about two natural disasters. We studied about two natural disasters about earthquakes and as well as volcanoes. So, what are the precautions, how they will occur? Those all things we studied. I hope it is clear with you all. In tomorrow's class or in next class, we will study about other different natural disasters, children. So, we will meet in the next class. Until then, see you. Bye.